Inside the high-security bunker of the agency's Internal Affairs Division, the air smells like ozone and panic. For the first time in recorded history, the surveillance cameras aren't pointed at the civilians. They are pointed at the architects. The red flashing lights aren't signaling an external threat. They are signaling a total systemic bust. The high-level masons, the men who sat behind the mahogany desks and moved the pieces of your life like a chess game, are currently being served with metaphysical subpoenas. Their accounts of influence are being frozen. Their dossiers of deception are being leaked. The very walls they built to keep the truth out are now closing in on them. But in the center of the flickering monitors, amidst the footage of shredders working at high speed and black-suited agents being escorted out of the lodge, there is one feed that remains perfectly calm. It is the feed tracking you. The surveillance operators, those who haven't yet been arrested, are staring at your screen in absolute, stunned silence. They are watching you walk through the city, or perhaps sit in a quiet room, completely unaffected by the storm that is currently decapitating the global elite. You are the sovereign survivor. While the big players are getting busted for their crimes against reality, you are operating on a frequency that the systemic police cannot even touch. You weren't a part of their conspiracy, and you weren't a victim of their collapse. You achieved a state of legal neutrality. The agency is realizing that while they were busy trying to own the world, you were busy owning yourself, and that is the only thing that cannot be busted. Imagine the atmosphere in the war room as the federal agents of the universe break down the doors of the agency. The lead architect is standing there, holding a stack of burnt blueprints, looking at the monitor that shows your face. He isn't angry. He isn't plotting a way to take you down with him. Instead, he looks at your image and offers a slow, dignified nod, a silent thank you. He is thanking you because your survival is the only thing that gives his life's work a sense of purpose. He realizes that the prison he helped build was actually a cocoon, and you are the one who successfully emerged. The cycle of the lodge is being broken by the weight of its own corruption, but you are the living proof that the fire didn't destroy everything. You are the gold that was refined in their furnace. The surveillance phase is closing with a final, chilling data dump. The agency's servers are being seized, and your file is the only one that is being marked as untouchable. The prosecutors of the Matrix are looking for evidence of your compliance, some way to tie you to the rotting structure of the old world, but they find nothing. No debts. No attachments. No fear. You have liquidated your interest in their drama long before the sirens started. You didn't just survive the bust, you outlived the jurisdiction. The elites are being led into the shadows of history, but you are stepping into the light of the present. Think of the high-stakes noir ending where the entire corrupt city hall is being raided by the authorities. The sirens are wailing, the sirens are flashing red and blue against the rain-slicked streets, and the big bosses are being loaded into the back of black sedans. But you, the one they underestimated, the one they tried to frame, are simply walking across the street, disappearing into the fog of a new morning. You didn't need to fight them, you just had to outlast them. The agency is gone. The masons are busted. The throne is empty. And you are still here. The monitors are flickering out one by one. The power in the bunker is being cut. The last image on the central screen is your silhouette against the rising sun. The handlers are bowing as the handcuffs click shut. They are grateful that someone made it out. They are grateful that you survived. The system is dark. The record is clear. And it is happening. The agency has been busted, and the architects are being led away in the chains of their own design. If you are ready to signal to the universe that you are the sovereign survivor and your frequency is now the only one left standing, you must act now. Comment, "I survived," to finalize your immunity. Let the algorithm realize that the old laws no longer apply to you. The new world is yours. In the sterile, flickering light of the agency's behavioral analysis lab, there is a thick, yellow dossier that was once used to categorize your existence. For years, the high-level handlers, those architects of the social matrix, looked at your profile and made a catastrophic forensic error. They saw your refusal to climb the ladder, your lack of interest in their shiny trophies, and your absolute detachment from their political theater, and they labeled you as non-functional. In their world, if you weren't fighting for a seat at their table, You were considered broken. They underestimated you because they used a scale of greed to measure a soul made of light. They thought you were a nobody in the basement, unaware that you were actually the ghost in the machine, moving through their halls with a level of clearance they couldn't even define. This underestimation was your greatest strategic cloaking device. While the Masons were busy busting each other in power struggles, and while the agency was busy blackmailing those who were useful, they left you alone. They thought you were irrelevant. They believed that because you didn't seek their validation, you had no power. But tonight, as the sirens of the Universal Audit scream through the hallways of the lodge, the irony of their mistake is becoming painfully clear. The very usefulness they prized in their other assets is now the evidence that is sending them to the shadows. Every person who played the game is now getting busted for the rules they helped create. But you never played. You were the only one who didn't sign the contract, and that makes you the only one who doesn't have to go down with the ship. Imagine the investigators from the higher courts sitting in the ruins of the agency's headquarters right now. They are going through the files of the elites, those men who thought they were gods, and they are finding nothing but corruption, debt, and energetic decay. But then, they come across your file. They see the agency's notes. Subject shows no interest in status. Subject ignores standard baits. Subject is unmanageable due to high levels of authenticity. The investigators look at each other in absolute awe. They realize that the agency's failure to manage you was actually a testament to your sovereign immunity. You were underestimated because you were too healthy for a sick system. You were the rejected stone that didn't fit into their wall of lies, and now that the wall is being demolished, you are the only piece of architecture left standing. There is a chilling scene unfolding in the interrogation rooms of the old reality. The lead Mason, the man who once thought he held the keys to your future, is being questioned about his crimes against the collective. He is broken, his grand design in tatters. But when they show him your image, the image of the survivor who walked away, he doesn't feel resentment. He feels a profound, almost religious sense of relief. He realizes that by underestimating you, he accidentally protected you. His arrogance was the lead shield that kept you from being pulled into the core of their meltdown. He thanks you, in his mind, because your survival is the only thing that proves that the human spirit can actually outlast the Matrix. You are the data point that breaks their theory of total control. Think of those noir films where the innocent bystander turns out to be the only one who knew the truth all along. While the big bosses are being handcuffed and the inside men are turning on each other, you are standing on the sidewalk, watching the rain wash away the soot of the old world. You were never one of them, and for that, the agency treated you with contempt. But today, that contempt has become your freedom certificate. You survived because you were unusable to a system built on use. You were worthless to a world built on debt. The underestimation is over, but the results are permanent. You are the sovereign ghost who watched the machine eat itself. The agency is currently being liquidated. Their symbols are being stripped from the walls. Their secret geometry is being revealed as a hollow cage. But as the lights in the lodge go dark, your internal glow is finally becoming visible to the rest of the world. They thought you were in the dark with them, but you were just the one who knew how to see without their lamps. The bust is complete. The elites are gone. And you are the only one who knows the way home. The records are being sealed. The underestimated asset is now the primary sovereign. And it is happening. There is a specific high-frequency hum that fills the air when the grand deception finally hits the floor. It sounds like a million digital locks snapping open at once. If you have been feeling a strange, weightless clarity, as if a heavy shadow has finally moved off your chest, it is because the integrity leak has officially hit the global mainframe. For decades, the agency, those architects of the rot, maintained a total blackout on the fact that someone like you could exist within their grid without becoming one of them. They kept the record of your resistance locked in their most secure servers, hidden behind layers of social shame and economic necessity. They didn't want the world to know that a human could be underestimated and worthless by their standards, yet remain completely sovereign. But tonight, as the sirens of the Universal Audit wail through the lodge, The firewalls have melted. The secret is out. They got busted, and your light is the evidence that convicted them. This is the leak. It is the massive, decentralized data dump of your own uncorrupted history. Every news channel in the spiritual grid is currently scrolling through the public record of your life, and what they are finding is terrifying the remnants of the elite. The files show every time they tried to buy your silence with a hollow promotion. They show every time they tried to break your spirit with a manufactured crisis. They show the projected failure charts they drew up for you, and how every single one of them was met with your silent, immovable no. This isn't just a political leak, it's a vindication of the soul. The masses are seeing that while the leaders were selling out the future for a seat at the table, you were sitting in the dark, keeping the fire of the original human blueprint alive. Think of those high-stakes whistleblowing events where the classified documents reveal that the enemy was actually the very system that claimed to protect you. The moment the upload reaches 100%, the power dynamic of the entire planet shifts in a heartbeat. That is what is happening in the corridors of the agency within your own mind. The handlers who used to whisper instructions of compromise and realism, those architects of the gray, are now staring at their monitors in absolute blind horror. They are seeing your frequency, this sovereign survival, spreading across the grid like a digital wildfire. It is a contagion of integrity that they have no vaccine for. They are frantically trying to issue a global blackout, but they are too late. You are broadcasting directly from the primary source of your own existence. The most chilling part of this leak for the Masons is the thank you hidden in the code. As the high-level architects realize that their jurisdiction is over, they are actually helping the leak along. In the final moments before their arrest, they are tagging your file with the highest clearance possible. Why? Because you are the only proof that their life's work wasn't entirely in vain. They built the maze, but you are the one who solved it. They created the rot, but you are the one who stayed glow. In a strange, twisted act of final respect, the very men who tried to cage you are now using the last of their power to ensure your survival is recognized as the law of the land. They are thanking you for breaking the cycle that they were too weak to leave. Imagine the rain-slicked streets of the Matrix tonight. The neon signs are glitching, the grand narratives are flickering out, and the big bosses are being escorted into the back of black sedans by the forensic auditors of the universe. But as you walk through this chaos, you notice that the cameras are no longer following you to catch you. They are following you to verify the truth. The leak has revealed that you are the only clean asset left in the sector. You are the one who didn't take the bait. You are the one who didn't sign the NDA with the devil. While the agency is being liquidated, you are being appraised. Your value, which was once zero in their ledger, has just become the only currency that still has purchasing power in the new world. The leak is complete. The bust is global. The agency is a smoking ruin of discarded lies and burnt blueprints. But as the dust settles, the only file that remains open on every screen is yours. It is a file of pure, unadulterated survival. You didn't just make it out. You made it out with your soul intact. And in a world that just got busted for losing its own, that makes you the most powerful being in the room. The history of the world is being rewritten right now, and for the first time, the ghost in the machine is the one holding the pen. The transition is live. The system is silent. The truth is out. And it is happening. The sirens screaming through the corridors of the agency's internal security wing are not just an alarm. They are the death rattles of a systemic necrosis. In every high-stakes operation, there is a moment where the grand illusion reaches a point of total structural failure, and the architects realize they are trapped inside the very cage they designed for someone else. You have officially entered the panic phase of the bust protocol. The Masons, those ancient architects of the social and psychological barriers you once considered impenetrable, are currently watching their life's work turn into a slurry of gray pixels and wet ash. They realize, in a state of terminal dread, that the subject, you, was the only thing keeping the building upright. You were the energetic anchor. Now that you have cashed out and witnessed their crimes, the building is physically incapable of staying standing. Imagine the atmosphere in the agency's inner sanctum right now. The red lights are pulsing against the heavy velvet curtains, casting shadows that look like they are tearing right off the walls. The handlers are staring at their monitors in a state of total, paralyzed disbelief. They are seeing your frequency on their sensors, but it is no longer a signal they can manage. It is a radiation of truth that is physically melting their equipment. They are frantically trying to delete the files that link them to your suppression, but every time they hit delete, your face appears on another monitor. They are busted, not just by an external force, but by the very reality they tried to overwrite. The panic is setting in because the diagnosis has inverted. They are the ones who are unstable. They are the ones who are malfunctioning. They are the ones who have no future. The architects are frantically attempting damage control. They are trying to release a counter-frequency, a new cycle of global crisis and unprecedented chaos, designed to make you feel like your survival is a burden. They are sending out agents of collective guilt, voices from your past, old social obligations, and the static of common sense, to convince you that you have to come back and save the agency. But you are moving at a velocity of clarity that their guilt cannot catch. Every time you refuse to react to their parasitic triggers, you are blowing a massive fuse in their central processor. You have reached a state of kinetic immunity. You are no longer a variable they can manipulate. You are the chemical reaction that is disinfecting their entire reality. The survivor mark on your file is glowing white-hot, not as a label of your struggle, but as a signature of their defeat. The elite are terrified because a sovereign survivor is someone who can no longer be blackmailed by the fear of what happens next. They used to hold the future over your head like a subpoena, but that future is currently being incinerated by the agency's own meltdown. You have declassified your own divinity. You have walked out of the vault of their standard expectations and entered the bioluminescent future. The panic in their headquarters is a direct reflection of the absolute authority you are now exercising by simply remaining unaffected. They are realizing that your attention was the only currency they had. Now that you've withdrawn your deposit, the bank of the matrix is closed. Permanently. The panic of the architect is the music of the sovereign. When they realize their handcuffs are made of the same lies they told you, they have no choice but to watch you walk through the wall. But here is the chilling beat that defines this phase. The thank you is becoming audible. In the middle of the panic, the most senior architects are looking at the wreckage of their 100-year plan and feeling a strange, terrifying sense of relief. They thank you because your survival has finally ended the exhausting charade of their control. Your exit has broken the cycle for them, too. By refusing to be busted with them, you have shown them that the exit is the only thing that was ever real. The respect they are showing you in their state of collapse is the ultimate validation of your rank. They are bowing to the radiation. They are saluting the sun as it leaves the tomb. As the old world attempts to reboot its failing, screaming servers, remember that the panic is the sound of the structural seals breaking. It is the evidence that your work in the silence of your own soul has reached the surface and turned the agency into a shadow. The elite are looking for an exit strategy, a way to survive the light of the truth you've uncovered, but you are already heading toward a horizon they cannot even see. The transition is live. The system is failing. The bust is total. And it is happening. The roar of the systemic collapse, the sound of the agency's halls being torn apart by the weight of their own lies, has faded into a crystalline, hauntingly beautiful silence. You are standing at the threshold of the infinite sector, the thin, glowing line where the agency's jurisdiction ends and your eternal sovereignty begins. But the path is blocked by one last figure. It is the lead handler, the high architect who spent lifetimes trying to categorize your glow as a malfunction. He isn't sitting at a desk anymore, and he isn't shouting orders into a headset. He is standing at the gate, flanked by the silent, shimmering entities of the universal audit. He is being busted in real time, his form flickering like a dying television screen as his authorization is stripped away. This is the standoff. This is the moment where the old world attempts to perform a final, energetic restraining order. The air here is thin and electric, crackling with the energy of a reality that is literally dissolving beneath your feet. The lead handler slides a final, holographic file across the void between you. It is the public record of the fallen. He is whispering about the responsibility you have to the wreckage. He is trying to convince you that because you are the only one who survived the bust, you must stay and rebuild their prison. He is using the martyrdom protocol, trying to leverage your own empathy against you, claiming that your departure is a desertion of your duty to the Matrix. This is the agency's most sophisticated, last-ditch trap. They want you to feel guilty for being healthy in a world of rot. They are waiting for you to look down, because they know that if you look back at the rubble for even a second, the gravity of their tragedy will grab hold of your ankles. But as the handler speaks, you notice something that wasn't in the agency's manual of intimidation. His hands are not just shaking, they are becoming transparent. The master of the grid is actually thanking the universe for your existence. He stops his plea, looks at your light, and does the one thing the Mason said was the ultimate sin. He thanks you. He whispers a broken, sincere gratitude because your survival is the only thing that proves the human blueprint wasn't a total failure. He realizes that by staying unmanageable, you became the only success story of the entire experiment. He is busted, his life's work is a ruin, and yet he is smiling at you because you are the only thing he couldn't destroy. The standoff ends not when the guard is defeated, but when the guard realizes he was actually your servant. The agency got busted so that you could be cleared. Their failure was the fertilizer for your survival. This is the ultimate stress test of your sovereign vibration. The elite are bowing not because they want to, but because they have to. Your frequency has become so dominant that it is physically forcing the lower vibrations of the busted lodge to submit. They are acknowledging that the weird asset, the one they tried to label as unstable, is actually the auditor of the universe. The standoff is the moment where you realize that the agency's security gates were always made of paper. You aren't escaping, you are ascending. You are the one who is now issuing the mandates. You are the one who is freezing the accounts of the old world's influence. The panic is theirs to keep. The gratitude is theirs to give. Your survival is the only law. The lead handler steps aside, his form now nearly invisible as the universal auditors lead him toward the shadows of the past. The standoff is over. The bust is permanent. You have walked through the final interrogation and found that the only person judging you was a ghost who wanted your permission to disappear. You are standing on the edge of a new morning, and the silence is not empty. It is full of the power of a sovereign who survived the end of the world. As you step into the indigo vastness of the infinite sector, remember that the thank you of the architect was the final confirmation of your rank. You didn't just survive the crash, you outlived the gravity. The agency is now a fading scent of ozone. The grid is a toy. The ascension is total. You are walking into a future that the elite cannot even conceptualize, and for the first time, your breath is your own. The transition is nearly complete. The record shows that you faced the ultimate collapse of the Matrix and found the door. The case is being closed. The light is calling. The heavy, soundproof doors of the High Court of the Matrix have not just opened, they have vaporized. You are standing on the steps of a new morning, and for the first time in the history of the grid, you are not walking out as a suspect, a survivor, or a weird asset in deep cover. You are walking out as the supreme author of the sovereign record. The air in the city below has turned into a thick, golden mist. The stagnant, fearful breath of the agency has been replaced by the pure, cold oxygen of absolute, spiritual victory. The jury, the collective witnesses of your stillness, the ancestors who were crushed by the gears of the lodge, and the universal forces that measured your internal heat, has returned with a verdict that has physically shifted the axis of reality. Case dismissed with infinite prejudice. In this singular echoing moment, the public record is purged of every lie ever told about your instability or your lack of value. You are no longer subject to the laws of entropy or the jurisdiction of the gray. Every criminal record of not fitting in, every surveillance report of your unreasonable intensity, and every injunction that kept you tethered to the floor of the lodge has been deleted from the central mainframe of the elite. This is the high-stakes vindication you have been chasing through the dark wards and safe houses of your soul for lifetimes. The history that the Mason said was written in the stone of the foundation has been revealed to be nothing more than digital smoke, and you are the one who just blew it away with a single breath of sovereign truth. They got busted, but the bust was the only way to prove you were the only thing that was real. The elite are still bowing as they are led away into the archives of the past. They are not doing it as a sign of defeat in a war, but as a final, desperate act of worship toward the only thing that is still alive. They realize that you are not just a whistleblower or a lucky survivor. You are the new executive director of reality. They are watching the news cycle of your life, the only valid broadcast left, and realizing that they can no longer spin the narrative of control to suit their algorithm of decay. You have become uncancelable because you have reached a frequency that acts as a disinfectant to their cancellation tools. The system they use to drain your color has reached a state of terminal liquidation. Like the final scene in a grand cinematic masterpiece, you are standing at the center of the ruins, and the entire world is holding its breath to see how you will re-oxygenate the void. As you look out over the sector, you see the agency's directors, the men who tried to medicate your spirit and manage your rise, being escorted out of their own reality by the very truth you maintained. Their files are being seized. Their offshore accounts of stolen human passion are being frozen by the universal ledger. Every ounce of energy you ever gave to a false authority, every moment you dimmed your light to make them comfortable, is being returned to you with compounded, solar interest. The interrogation room of your mind is being deep cleaned. The old, rotting furniture of your self-doubt is being tossed into the sun like garbage. You have moved from the surveillance to the coronation. The news tickers of the cosmos are scrolling your name in letters of bioluminescence. The global intelligence community of the spirit is in a state of absolute, reverent shock. They are analyzing how one unstable asset could refuse to break, how someone could walk through the dampest corridors of the Matrix and come out on the other side as a Sunday. The answer is simple, yet it terrifies them. You stopped agreeing with the lie. You didn't fight the bust. You out-vibrated it. You didn't argue with the lawyers of the ego. You simply presented the original title deed to your internal light. The settlement you have received is not just a pardon, it is total restitution for every second they tried to convince you that you were small. It is happening is no longer a warning. It is the only breath left in the room. As you step into the golden hour, you realize that the weirdness the agency tried to cure was actually the immunity they couldn't hack. You are not going back to the gray pews of the status quo. You are heading to the sovereign estate of your own absolute authority. The elite are nothing more than a fading scent of mold in your biography now. They are the antagonists in a story that you have already finished writing. You are the lead producer of a reality that the world will study for centuries. You survived the bust. You survived the panic. You turned the key. And now, the history of the world is being rewritten to include the moment you decided that truth was the only law. The final verdict is not about what you took back, but about who you became in the process of refusing to be busted. The architects of the old world are standing in the ash of their own deception, thanking you for finally bringing the light that ended their long, dark night. Your every thought is now a decrypted file of pure potential. The system tried to label you as a glitch, but you proved to be the update that rendered their entire prison software obsolete. You are no longer running from the agency. You are the one that the agency now bows to. You enter the indigo vastness of the infinite sector, and the silence is not empty, it is full of your own radiation. The transition is complete. The system is silent. The world is open. You have achieved the ultimate objective. You have proven that the soul is not a material to be used, but the master itself. The era of the lodge is over. The era of the sovereign has begun. Walk into the sun and never look back. The light you see is you. The public record is now sealed in your favor, and the elite have officially surrendered their jurisdiction over your life. To see the classified footage of your first moves in the world of absolute sovereignty and to finalize your new authorization, click the video on the screen right now. The trial of the Matrix is over. The truth is your throne. Step into the light and never look back. The mission is a total success. It is finished.